tonight. This is our July meeting. We have a good agenda today, including a work session, and we have a new representative from the Secretary of State that will just be giving a message to us, or just a short greeting to us later during the meeting. So just a little bit of kind of logistics information here as we get started. Remember that our meeting is being recorded, is a public meeting, and our meeting and notes will be part of the public record. I want to ask everyone to mute their microphones if you are not speaking or addressing the council so that we don't have background noise. We will not have any public participation today, but we may have members of the public joining our meeting. So if there are any members with us tonight, members of the public, we would love to hear your feedback and ideas through our email, which is at the bottom of the slide in the screen. Kelly will be monitoring the chat tonight. And for some of you, I know we have had issues with the chat in previous meetings because of the Teams platform. If the chat doesn't work for you, feel free to raise your hand or to unmute and ask your question or share your comment. We also have Rebecca here today. We didn't put this in the agenda, but Rebecca, if you want to say hello for just a second and tell us what your role is and what you will be doing during the meeting.
Sure, and then I'll mute myself because I'm not being a very good participant. Hello, everyone. I am the administrative specialist for the TAC program. I've probably communicated via email with most of you and a few video chats with some of you, but I'm happy to see everyone gathered together today. And I just really appreciate all of the work that you've been doing. And it was great to work with all of you through the May primary. And I get to say a little more later. So thank you, Magda, for giving me that opportunity.
Yeah, awesome. Great. I'm glad that we've made an intro for you with your face. I think what we are going to do next is we are going to do a roll call. I'm going to call everyone's names just to see who is here tonight and see if we can establish a quorum. We have 2 votes to take tonight, so I'm going to go down a list and call you by your first name. The list is organized alphabetically by your last name, but I'm going to use our first names. And Rebecca will help me track who is here and determine whether we have quorum. So please, when I call your name, please respond just saying present. Be ready to unmute and do that. Eman Abbas, are you with us? Eman? Okay. Lowell Alik?
I'm here, present.
Okay, hello. Sahar Basioni? Sahar? Okay. I also haven't said some of your names before, so I am very sorry if I don't pronounce them correctly. Please feel free to correct me too. Rania Bensafia. Rania, are you with us? Okay. Hector Buenaventura.
Present.
Okay, hello Hector. Tamara Bukovskaya, I see you.
I'm present.
Hi Tamara. Meng Cheng Pinkham.
Present.
Hello Meng. Ritu Dungana. Okay, Ritu. Okay. Natalia Emery. Natalia.
Present.
Emery? Oh, hello. Okay. Loi Fairley. Hi, Loi. See you, and thanks for raising your hand. And Li Gui.
Hi, present.
Okay. Tatiana Horner.
Present.
Tatiana. Eliam Hua.
Present.
Hello, Eliam. Katerina Ingram. Katerina Ingram. Okay. Hane Kaneko. Hanae. Maybe. Hanae. Sai Kim. Sai. Canan Lee.
Present.
Hello, Canan. Lloyd Lee. Lloyd Lee. Angie Mueller.
Present.
Hello. Nam Win. Nam. Okay. Rebecca Polk. Rebecca Polk. Okay. Chantal Portillo. Chantal. Okay. Fleur Pratt.
Present.
Hi, Fleur. May Sechao.
Present.
Hello. John Safi. John Safi. Okay. Paulina Sergiv.
Present.
Hello, Paulina. Sutapa Svetamani.
Hi, present.
Hello, Sutapa. Thank you. Sydney Taggart. Sydney. Okay. Aida Taracena. Tatiana Terdal.
Present.
Hi, Tatiana. Thank you. Li Hong Cheng.
Present.
Hi, Leon. Thank you. And Magda, present. Thank you, everyone. Rebecca will help us determine the quorum. It is a bit of a lengthy process, but it is really good to make sure that we know who is here since we're going to be voting. I appreciate your collaboration there. This is a quick look at our agenda. There's a few members that are leaving the council, so we will take a few minutes to recognize their work and to name them. We are going to review or vote to approve the minutes for our last meeting in December. And next, we will try to elect a vice chair. You know, that position has been vacant for over a year. We'll talk more about that. We will have a report by the Secretary of State, the Elections Divisions, about our work in the last months, maybe, or year. That'll be great. And then we'll take a break and we'll come back to work together in small groups in glossary terms and some of the style of the translations that we've been working on. We usually do this work individually, but tonight we get to connect with our language peers to do some work together. At any point, if you have comments or questions, again, use the chat or feel free to raise your hand. And just to get us started, we are going to welcome Carol Moreno Cifuentes. Carol is a senior policy analyst with the Secretary of State and the Elections Divisions, and she is here today from the Secretary of State. Carol supports the government relationships team as the executive team's senior policy analyst. And so, Carol, I'm going to let you tell us a little bit more about yourself. And thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you so much, Chair. And is everyone able to hear me all right? Just want to make sure. Okay, great. Well, thank you all so much for having me here today, especially in the place of Secretary Reed, who deeply values language access, and I know regrets whenever he can't be in any space where that happens. And recently, he actually had the opportunity to attend a convocation at the Tulugo Language School, and that was really deeply meaningful for us to observe and meet a lot of students from as young as third grade up and through high school that had gone through that language course and were able to graduate. So it was a really neat experience. But that aside, I did want to just share a little bit about the work we do on the government relations team. We do represent our Office on Legislative Affairs and any local and federal and tribal or international relations. So we're typically the points of contact on that end. And for my role specifically, I'm also focused on our elections and corporation divisions and supporting them in any capacity. So recently that has meant working on coordinating our explanatory statement and financial estimate committee process for the statements that go into the voters' pamphlets. And I know you all get probably headaches at times thinking about the best way to translate some of these materials, and those committee members get headaches about how to make the statements as easily digestible by voters. So we all suffer a little bit together, but it's for the will of voters. So it's been a really great experience to be working on that end. But I joined the Secretary of State's office in April of last year, and prior to working in state government, I also worked for a statewide nonprofit in North Carolina for some time as a policy and program manager. And in that role, I was focused on election administration, but also on managing our non-person voter hotline. And so being able to interact directly with voters, I think language access was something that unfortunately there were a lot more barriers to entry in North Carolina, where it's not a state that offers the resources Oregon does. So I'm extremely grateful for what this council provides. And the elections has been the primary focus of my work. I also had the opportunity to serve a law firm shortly after graduating from Oregon State University. So if there's any Beaver grads here, go Beavers. But at that law firm, over 95% of our clients were primarily Spanish speakers. So my role was, among other things, to translate between clients and their attorneys and sometimes depositions, and definitely felt the need in those spaces. And so I can't reiterate enough how appreciative we are of all that you all have to contribute. Like, language access continues to be something that's not just important to myself, but to members of our executive office and team. Recently, I've had the opportunity to work with Kelly Mills in our elections division, who's amazing, and the secretary to recruit for the existing vacancies on the Translation Advisory Council. And our executive office has also been coordinating nonpartisan voter education events where we're looking at what translation services can be offered and on producing voter education resources. So we recently, as many of you are likely aware, have released a voter toolkit that's available in the top 5 languages. And that was a great accomplishment from many folks, but in large part our communications team. So with that being said, I think we've come a huge way since the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which, as many of you know, prohibited racial discrimination in voting and outlawed language-based voting qualifications or prerequisites that were discriminatory. And I think Oregon is a leader, in my opinion. I think really goes above and beyond by comparison to other states, and not just ensuring that what's on the ballot is accessible, but also making sure that it's culturally relevant and can be understood by many different communities. And also ensuring that there's buy-in from communities all around Oregon and how to best relay the information to voters. So we have a lot of great resources here, and I would be remiss if I didn't highlight some of the specific accomplishments that came from this group in the May primary election. I know that you all translated over 109 materials for the voters pamphlet, which is amazing to me. And together you were able to also create and translate an elections glossary and the translation style guide that is used by our communications team often as well for other things outside of the voters pamphlet. And also reviewed requests at the local level. There's so many counties that I know don't have the support. We often meet the county clerks that really wish they had more resources. So the role this council plays is huge, and also providing that support at the local level. And just generally, we're able to work together to think about other multilingual voter education materials and assisting in other community outreach. So this work has expanded over time. It's been great to see it grow and to learn about all the accomplishments. So I hope everyone here feels a lot of pride for the work you do and knows that we're fully behind you and here to support you in any way. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol. It's great to have you here tonight. We are going to move to say or recognize some of our departing members, and Kelly is going to guide us through that in these next few minutes. Kelly.
Yeah, thank you, Carol. It's great to have you on board. You've got our backs. Thank you. Yes, so we've been on a journey since 2022, and we've had some members who have been with us since the beginning who are moving off of the council, sadly. And we just want to take a minute to recognize them. And if any of you are here on this list, you're welcome to put a little note in the chat about your experience or thoughts, or just say goodbye. But these are members, and Iman was an Arabic member for 4 years, and also works for the Department of Employment and has been instrumental in getting the Arabic translations up. Mengqing Pinkham has been on the council for 2 years, and she provided both traditional and simplified Chinese expertise. Ritu joined us just a year ago to fill in for Nepali, which was a new language in 2025. Katarina was a Russian for 2 years, a Russian translator member, and I remember her first meeting, joining the glossary group. Lloyd Lee was a high school member, one of our youngest, who joined us for 2 years for Korean. Fleur Prade has been with the council since the very beginning, and she drives over the mountains when we have in-person meetings from Bend, and we really appreciate her. Sydney joined us 2 years ago, and she was a Korean member, Korean translation member. Aida Tadasena also, she wins the award. She came from Talent, Oregon, near the Southern Oregon border, near Medford, and Spanish representative. Mira Weimer was also on the council since the beginning, 2022, for Korean, instrumental in our Korean translations. And Li Hong Zhang has been with us for 2 years, simplified Chinese, and she's known for finding interesting things about legal translations and Roman numerals. So we just want to thank them, and I see a lot of appreciative remarks. Thank you so much, and we will miss you, and we hope you'll continue to join our group as a member of the public.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you so much for everyone that helped in the council. We are gonna miss you. Please stay in touch and tell your friends, and continue sharing with your community about elections and ways to participate. If you want to say something at the end of our meeting during our community time, it will be great to hear from you. Rebecca has been tracking, and we do have a quorum for tonight so that we can vote. We are going to move to approve the minutes of our last meeting. Those were sent by email to you before meeting tonight. So I wanted to ask if if there are any corrections to the minutes that anybody wants to bring up, or if we are ready to move to vote to approve the minutes as they are. So I'm just going to ask the questions. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Okay, so hearing none, we are going to vote to approve the minutes. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes as they are?
I motion to approve the minutes as they are.
Is that Fleur?
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, my name. Sorry, I'm on my iPad. My
For
name
the
doesn't
record.
show up.
I recognize your voice, but yeah, thank you for saying your name, Fleur. So that was Fleur making the motion to approve the minutes as they are. Can we have a second motion?
This is Natalia Emery. I second the motion.
Thank you, Natalia, for seconding the motion. We are gonna do this as a verbal vote simultaneously. So I'm gonna ask all of you who are in favor of approving, unmute yourselves and say yes, and then I will ask all of those who are not approving the minutes to please say no. So be ready to unmute yourself. Yeah, and if there's anybody over the phone, you can unmute using the star number 6. So let's do a verbal call for votes, and all those in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, please say yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
And all, thank you.
Yes.
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 Thanks. And all those not in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, please say no. Okay, so the December 3rd minutes are approved by verbal vote. Thank you, everyone, for reviewing those and making sure that our record is correct. We have a second vote to take tonight, and this is for the position of the vice chair of our council. You know that, or maybe not all of you know, but that the vice chair position has been vacant since May 2025. And when we last took a vote in the December meeting of last year, the election resulted in a 3-way tie. So we accepted a motion by the council members to delay the vote and vote in the next meeting, which is today. Back in December, we had 3 nominations. We heard from Natasha Emery, Lee Wee, and Fleur Pratt as candidates for the vice chair position. As we just heard, Fleur's 4-year service is ending, so we won't be having her as part of the slate of nominees today. And Fleur, thank you again so much for everything that you've done. We have been really lucky to have you. Currently, we have Natasha Emery and Lee Wee as our 2 nominees. The vice chair role serves for a period of 2 years, and it helps support the council in planning and presiding meetings. The person that is in the role of the vice chair can act as the chair in the absence of the chair, and can also be re-elected for a maximum of 2 periods, so that will be 4 years in total. Typically, the officers of the Secretary of State and the the council officers and the staff of the Secretary of State meet about 6 times per year for planning communications with members, preparing the council meetings, reviewing survey results, and just for general leadership tasks. Before this meeting, we provided the biographies of the members who are nominated to be the vice chair. I hope that you had an opportunity to review them and become more familiar with them. We will give them a few minutes just to address the council again and let us know who they are and why they are running for the vice chair position. But before I do that, I wanted to provide the council an opportunity to add nominees if there is anybody else that is interested in running the position. This would be the time. So does anyone wish to add another vice chair nominee today for voting today? Okay, so hearing no answers, I'm assuming that we will continue with the current slate of the nominees that we have. So again, we have Natasha Emery and Lee Wee, and I'm just going to provide a few minutes for them to address the council. Lee, I'm going to call you first. Do you have any final comments that you'd like to make in support of your nomination tonight?
Hi, good evening, everyone. So my name is Lee. So I am living in Beaverton, and I was an interpreter for 7 years, and I am currently working for Oregon State Hospital as a program analyst. I have been serve our council since last year, and I am fluent in 3 languages. Oh, I'm sorry. Since September 2024, a little numbers. I am passionate about helping people, and I would like to vote for the vice president because I think my experience working as an interpreter and also cooperated with translator vendors, and now the experience in the government might be able to bridge us, and I want to serve us more. If you could give me the opportunity, I appreciate, but I also think I'll support your choice if you think Natasha fits better. I think she will be great too. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. It's great to hear from you. And then Natasha, briefly too, do you have any final comments that you'd like to make in support of your nomination today?
Well, I would like to thank everybody who is here and for your time and for your ongoing support. Also, I would like to say a few words about Lee's support of me. I'm really thankful to her and her belief in me. Just like Lee, I'm also supporting the council from 2024. I am an Oregon State graduate, and I work as a public benefit specialist for the Oregon Department of Human Services. I support Oregonians with welfare, and I also have some volunteer experience in food shelves, in community organizations. So I would support any choice that you would make, and I am thankful just for being here and for your belief in me. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. We appreciate your nomination and your thoughts. And I see Kelly's hand.
Yeah, we have a comment from Tatiana Turdal, if you'd like to make it.
Yeah. please, Tatiana.
Yes, hi. First of all, I apologize for any noise. I am on a family trip that I could not postpone, so it's coming from outside. I'm trying to find a place where I can talk. So, after our last meeting and our last vote, when we had 3 candidates, we received an email. I received an email, and I think it went to all the council from one of the nominees. And it was, a regular campaign email that I see a lot from different campaigns thanking for the votes. So that was very irregular. But what was irregular is it was coming from the state of Oregon address, which usually I don't see coming from campaigns. Like, I get emails from the Oregon governor who is running from re-election, but none of those emails come from the work address. So I was surprised to see it coming from the state of Oregon address. It had a state of Oregon seal and also the logo of the elections division, which might have implied support for the candidate. While I don't think there have been official endorsements. So again, that was something that I don't see in other emails coming from candidate campaigns. It was also had a quote from a Russian writer and Russian philosopher who is often used by Russian President Putin to justify his invasion of Ukraine. And for somebody in the Ukrainian community, a message like that, the quote from that particular philosopher next to the Oregon State seal, was pretty shocking. So I want the council to be aware of the cultural context. We are dealing with people in different communities. And in some community, a writer can be, a great writer, national hero, promoting the empire. But in other communities who were occupied by the empire or are currently, whose families are suffering through an invasion, seeing the name can be shocking and may imply that the state of Oregon is supporting that particular white supremacy message. So I do want the council to be aware that we have different communities, and the council should be apolitical, and it's better not to have any national heroes that for other communities may be somebody who associated with very painful ongoing genocide. So yeah, I was unfortunately not very happy to see that email, and I also don't know if state of Oregon addresses should be used for council work. I don't know if there is a policy on that. So that was my comment.
Can I reply to that?
Yeah, gonna say first, I want to thank you, Tatiana, for your comment. I wasn't aware. I mean, I saw the email, but I think you bring up some valid concerns. I think we can address that. It is important. I guess I can also let the staff respond, but just so you know, there's no support to any of the 2 candidates, at least from my position. I get a vote as a member. We have the nominations, and it's up to the council members to elect the candidate they think will best meet the needs of the role of the vice chair and support the council. So while I appreciate hearing that concern, and I want to give you, Natasha, a chance to briefly respond, I would like to focus our attention on the election today. And I think if there's any concerns of follow-up that any member of the council feels like is needed to really bring it up with me, Kelly, Rebecca, or anybody that you feel comfortable, so that we can really get a proper address it properly. We can even create time in a separate or in in an additional meeting or a future meeting to discuss that, because you're right, there's a lot to unpack there. So yeah, so again, thanks for bringing that up. Natasha, I'll let you respond, and then if we can resume our agenda. Thank
Well,
you.
Thank you so much for allowing me to respond to this concern. First of all, I would like to say that in my email, and in my words, and in my actions, there was no ill will. My statement on my official email with a seal of government official, which I am, added to my signature. And that signature just means that I am working for DHS, for the state of Oregon. That's the seal. That's my official email. Also, I am working for Oregon Eligibility Partnership. That's also adds to me as my official. And below that, it just says vote, Oregon Secretary of State Election Division. So I'm encouraging everyone to vote. This email had been my official signature since the beginning of my career. What Oregon Secretary of State seal was added after I became a translator for the council. What previous member was talking about Russian famous writer who was Fyodor Mikhailovich Dostoevsky. He had said, and I quote, "What would life be if we had no courage to attempt anything?" I took that particular statement from a person who I highly respect, and that person is a former chair of Slavic Employee Resource Group. Slavic Employee Resource Group is the resource group that one of the 13 resource groups in Oregon Department of Human Services that engages employees and supports them in their career and in their personal choices. So, like I said, that was the signature of our chair. Now I need to tell you a little bit about Slavic Employee Resource Group. We have everybody who is Slavic in that group, including
Natasha.
Ukrainians, and we all cooperate, we all work together, and we completely apolitical. We do not talk about anything that's going on right now in a political atmosphere. We're completely free of that. And we are successful because of that. That's all I wanted to say, and thank you to everyone for listening.
Thank you, Natasha. I know this is a big conversation, so I appreciate both of you being respectful and sharing your thoughts as briefly as possible. Kelly, I think you want to add also a response from the staff's perspective.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Tatiana, and thank you, Natasha, for your perspectives and for pointing out the importance of this council and how we look at things and how they're perceived. I just wanted to address that some of our members are state employees or public employees and use their work address. We all complete the Oregon Ethics Government training just to make sure that our intentions and perspectives are nonpartisan and open to all kinds of ideas and differing thoughts. just keep that in mind. Some of our members represent their agency officially, and their application, they have permission from their employers to do that. But yeah, just want to remind everyone of that and our goal to support each other and listen to each other and be aware of how things are being perceived.
Thanks for that clarification. And thank you, Lee and Natasha, again, for sharing your thoughts about the vice president position and your interest. We are going to do this vote in a roll call style, just like we did with the attendance. This will help us keep the public record clear. You know, this is a public meeting, and public meeting law requires that what we do is transparent and that the public is aware. We must take a formal vote in an open session. So the vote of each member will be recorded in the minutes by voting members. Nominees can vote for themselves. The chair will vote last, and then the staff will be carefully tracking the official votes, and we will announce the results in a few minutes as soon as we can after counting the votes. In case of a tie, we will follow the Roberts Rules of Order again. So I want to ask you to please get ready to vote. I'm going to call your names, and when I call you, please unmute yourself and tell us what your vote is. We have an example here in the slide. You can state your name and your vote. So for example, I would say, this is Magda and I vote for Kelly, for example. I'm going to get started. I think we had good practice with the first roll call, so I'm going to get us started here. Eman? Oh, sorry, Eman is absent today. Lowell, Alik. Lowell, are you able to state your vote?
I'm
I can
No,
come back
I,
to you.
uh,
Do you want me to come back to you?
I'll need a little bit more time.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Thank
yeah.
you. Sahar Basioni. Oh, sorry, Sahar is absent. Hector Buenaventura.
Hector Buenaventura for Ligui.
Thank you, Hector. Tamara Bukovskaya.
Tamara Bukovskaya vote for Natasha.
Thank you, Tamara. Meng Chen Pink Kam.
Meng Chen Pinkham vote for Lee Gui.
Thank you, Meng. Natalia Emery.
I vote for myself.
Thank you. That was Natalia Emery voting for herself. Thank you, Natalia. Loy Fairley. Loy, are you able to state your vote? Okay, I'll come back to Loy. I know she's here. Lee Gui.
I vote for Lee Gui. Lee.
Thank you, Lee, for your vote for Lee Gui. Tatiana Horner.
Tatiana Horner for Lee Gui.
Thank you, Tatiana. Eliam Hua. Eliam, are you able to state your vote?
I see a written vote in the chat.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I vote for Natasha Emery. Thank you.
Thank you, Eliam. Can Lee.
Can Lee for Lee Gui.
Thank you, Ken. Angie Mueller. Angie
Sorry,
Mueller.
I just unmuted myself. Angie Mueller, I vote for Li Gui.
Okay, thank you, Angie. Fleur Pratt.
Yes, Fleur Pride, I vote for Li Gui.
Okay, thank you, Fleur. Maisei Chow.
Li Gui.
Thank you, May. Joan Safi.
Nasrullah Safi, I'm voting for Emery and Natasha.
Thank you, Joan. Polina Sergiev.
Hi, I'm Polina Sergiev, and I vote for Natasha.
Thank you, Polina. Sutapa Svetamani.
I Sutapa, vote for Li Gui.
Thank you, Sutapa. Tatiana Turdal.
Hi, this is Tatiana. I vote for Li Gui.
Thank you, Tatiana. Li Hong Seng.
Li Hong here. I vote for Li Gui.
Thank you, Li Hong. And then Magda Bejarano, I vote for Li Gui. And I want to ask, are there, let me go back to, I'm so sorry, Lowell Alik. Do you want to state your vote?
I'm gonna vote for Emery and Natasha.
Okay, thank you, Lowell. And we also missed Loie Fairley. Loie, are you present and are you able to state your vote? We may have lost Loie. I want to ask if there's any other members present that I didn't mention or that came after we established quorum. Okay, well, that concludes our vote. Thank you so much for your participation and thoughtful choice. Rebecca and Kelly will help us track the votes in the background, and we will share those as soon as possible. So we will continue our meeting. Just switch tracks a little bit, hearing some of the updates and news from the Secretary of State for the last few months of our work. I think there's some really exciting news after the last elections. So I'm going to pass this on to Kelly. Kelly is going to talk to us about the different areas of the elections division work. So Kelly, you're
Thanks.
on.
Thanks, Magda. Okay, so we're going to cover 4 areas. The first one is already done, though. Rebecca is our new staff. She joined us in November. But Rebecca's going to be showing us some web page analytics comparing the 2 primary elections we've done the translations for. And then I wanted to give an update on the recruitment to fill vacancies on the council and just talk about some of the accomplishments in the past year. All right, is Rebecca ready? I know she's counting votes. And I see Loie coming back in too.
I am here. I am almost ready. If you could give me just about 30 more seconds, Kelly.
Yeah, no problem. I could do another area really quickly so Rebecca can finish that up. If you want to move the slides ahead, Magda, to the membership.
Yeah, to membership.
Couple more. See how flexible we are.
You tell me when to stop.
Yeah.
Here, no.
Back one.
Back one.
The fast one.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So our council fluctuates based on language needs, but we have had 35 up to 35 members at a time. Also, we fill vacancies based on resignations. Sometimes people aren't able to fulfill their term, or their terms expire after 2 or 4 years. In 6 years, someone can be on the council. It also depends on how many people seek reappointment after their 2-year terms. And as you know, we added additional languages in 2025. So we had to add new members, and that was really exciting. This year, we had amazingly 24 people whose terms were expiring. You know, we can't control that. The first years, we staggered our appointments. We had some people just the first year were on 3 years and other people on 2. So a whopping 24 this year. 13 have been reappointed by the secretary, and 11 are moving off the council by choice. And so we've taken this opportunity to look at our language needs to figure out where we need to shore up some of our languages. So we're still working out Somali and Yumian translations. Those are languages that have less language authorities and written resources, and so there's a lot more discussion that go around those languages. We're increasing those languages to 2 members each. And Japanese, we also would like a little bit more flexibility, and the number of pamphlets increased in 2025 as well for Japanese. So we will have a second Japanese member. And we're still recruiting. We would like another Korean member to make a total of 3, because that language is used in every pamphlet in the state. And we would like another Yumian member. And we'd just like your assistance in helping us recruit for the council. The priority deadline for looking to fill vacancies was July 15th. We seem to have enough except for Korean and Yumian. And just so you know, the way we recruit, Carol from our office is a liaison to some of the consulates in the area and the secretary's network. And we also send emails to all kinds of community organizations, cultural organizations that we think might know members of the community. And our human resources department announces it across state agencies. A lot of, I'd say 6 or 7 of our members, at least, maybe more, are state of Oregon employees. And just word of mouth. So we are recruiting for those, and that is the report on recruitment.
So great, thank you, Kelly. That's we'll keep that in mind to support the recruitment. Rebecca, are you ready to share your report?
I am ready. Thank you all for adjusting on the fly.
Get back to your slide here. Okay, here we go.
A couple more back. Let's see. I think I can change these pages. Yay. Well, again, for those of you who joined maybe a few minutes late, I hope you have a nice cool beverage. It's a warm evening, and I am happy to be here with all of you. And I get the privilege of talking to you about the work that you did in May and the impact that it had for Oregon voters and accessing materials in their primary language. And so this first slide here that we have, these are the landing pages from May's primary election. On the left, you'll see the language pages. So folks can navigate through the Secretary of State's website based on language. So you'll see English up there in the top left corner, but then all of the other council languages are also there. So if people land on our page, they can navigate that way. And then county pages. What we have is if someone knows the county that they live in, they can go directly to that county. This example is Deschutes, and they will find all of the translated voters pamphlets for that particular county, if they are looking that way as well. And it works that way for the state as well. So anyone, all 19 languages are available for the state pamphlet. So if they go to the state landing page, they will see all 19 of the council languages available, regardless of what county they live in. And we didn't want to bury the good news. So we started out with it. This is a comparison between how many visits to the county pages happened in the 2024 primary election and happened in the 2026 primary election. And as you can see, that is a huge increase. That's more than 100% increase in folks accessing these materials for just 2 years. So again, that is such strong growth in just 2 years, and it wouldn't be possible without all of you contributing to getting these materials up and ready. And trust me, we feel that pain as well with these crazy timelines. But again, thank you all for helping to get those up on the site on time, and more people are accessing the materials. We started with the big news, the big exciting news, but this is what it looks like behind the scenes. So again, that was, I'll flip back just quickly. That was all counties, was 109%. And then you'll see the breakdown here by county. And actually we had increases in almost every county accessing their pages. Only Columbia and Marion had a small decrease, and you can see Multnomah off the charts in terms of how many folks were accessing that pamphlet. But that's great. That's great news, you know, as it reaches more and more communities out there. The next one we're going to go to, another one of my favorite slides. This is a breakdown by language. So those first two slides were breakdowns by county. But this is what was accessed by language. And you'll notice, I love that second little circle, 21% of the access was with new languages that were added since 2024. So those 6 languages that are in the smaller circle were not available to voters in 2024, but they were available to voters in 2026. And I just want to say another thank you, especially to those folks that came on after 2024, creating your glossaries, your style guides, and all of those reviews to be able to make 2026 possible. So that's, again, a really good way to look at that. And I'll leave this up here for a moment and let you look at it. I know that trying to get all of your languages up on one slide, the pie gets a little small, but also still big enough for you all to see it. And so just kudos to all of you for the work that you've done.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rebecca. I was so excited when I saw these. I saw, okay, Meng does not have a, oh, thank you, Meng, for pointing that we were not syncing with the slides. Does anybody have any quick questions about what we heard from Kelly and Rebecca today regarding our performance from May and the recruitment parts?
I have one more slide, Magda. I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So again, similar, this was the big pie graph for 2026, but this is the comparison. So you'll see, again, growth in almost all of the languages. And for this graph, only the languages that were available in 2024 have a comparison, but we put the numbers here for all of the languages that were added so that you'll see language page views also for those new languages. So that's part of the pie. It's just a more detail. So I apologize. I am done now, Magda.
No, thank you. That makes sense. That's great to hear.
I think I'm supposed to pass it back over to Kelly. We got a little derailed. I apologize.
No problem.
Yeah, Kelly, did you have anything in addition to what you shared?
Yep, I'm going to do the accomplishments.
Yes,
So that's
okay,
a little,
awesome.
there it is. Yeah. Well, I was really surprised. I filled up 2 little notebooks here. Yeah, it's been a very busy year. As Carol mentioned, we had a new Secretary of State start in January of 2025. And so we've been adjusting and learning and getting new opportunities. So just some of them are, we did 21 more pamphlets this primary election than we did in 2024. And that's because of the 6 new languages. So that was about 24% increase for everyone. Also, Rebecca and I have been working on expanding graphics that are available in the printed mailed English pamphlets, bringing them over to the translated pamphlets. So that's exciting because they're looking a little more interesting. We also have a new web page up. Actually, it's up right now, and it's called our In-Between Elections page. So it's notification about the next upcoming election, and the information is now available in translation. So that's an improvement. The entire Secretary of State's been working 2 years to expand and reorganize and try to make a little bit easier to navigate the entire agency's web pages and all of the archives division and corporations division and elections. Anyway, our webmaster who puts up our translations and works with us every election, they've been working on that for 2 years. So you might notice it looks a little bit different. It includes some of the branding and logos that the council weighed in on a couple of years ago. And hopefully it's easier for you to use also. With the addition of the graphics, we also have been working towards compliance with the Department of Justice federal accessibility laws and rules. So this is to allow any materials that are put up on the intranet to have behind the scenes, we call it metadata and alternate text, so that those who use speech technology to read things or need descriptions of what they're seeing, that's we worked hard on that, and it's a lot of extra work behind the scenes. Another thing is we developed and implemented a data reporting tool where we're tracking our actual translations, the cost of translations, and looking for trends where we're becoming more efficient and hopefully costing a little bit less. And I'm happy to report that through using that tool, we were able to project that we're going to save about $13,000 for the general election, which will be quite a large election by using the data from the previous elections. Also, Rebecca has been doing some focused tutorials for some members who are having difficulties using ShareFile or the forms for the reviews, just kind of technical things. And when we notice that people are having trouble, we reach out to them, and she's been helping them figure it out. It's not always straightforward, but we appreciate all of your patience and for those who've attended some of those invitee tutorials. And also we're getting ready to look at the filings that will be filed in August for the general election. And people who've been around for a few, at least since 2024, we have this requirement. The law that brought on the Translation Advisory Council and the translations allows statewide and federal candidates to submit their own translations of candidate statements. So we don't go work with a professional translator, they submit their own. And also filers for statewide arguments, statewide measure arguments can submit translations. And in 2020, for legislative session, political parties can also submit their own translations. So the difference is in the past, and some of you will like hold your head with a headache, we interpreted the law to review the translations to make sure they were exactly the same as the English version that was filed. And that was quite difficult. The translations were often very low quality, maybe some machine translations. And it was difficult. So in the last year, we worked with our council on staff and our elections division to really look at the statutes and what are the requirements by the Secretary of State. So if you were assigned some of those in the May primary, you would have noticed the change in process. Right now, we are just required to enforce compliance for those translations to make sure that they don't include any profane, offensive, or hate language according to the law. And so that review has become much easier, much quicker. It's really just looking through and making sure that everything's on board. And you'll also know if you look at the translations that the Secretary of State's office adds a line at the bottom that said this translation is provided by the filer and was not translated by the Secretary of State's office. So I'm really happy about that because I know it was very painful for a lot of people. And they felt very bad. I heard a lot of people say, please don't let them print this. It's terrible. So an improvement there. Those are those accomplishments. And did anyone have any questions on the staff report? Welcoming Rebecca, the analytics, and the accomplishments and the recruitment.
I'm going to read Fleur's question in the chat, and maybe we can take one more, and Angie, with that be our second, so that we can move on with our agenda. We have a little bit of community time at the end. So Fleur's question, this information about the languages viewed was very informative. Is there any way we can see this statistics online?
I can start an answer for you, Fleur, and then I will pass it over to Kelly, maybe to fill in a few extra details. Part of the good news about these statistics is that they tend to underestimate, and that our web team isn't 100% confident that it was 100% accurate. But because the news was so good, we have been working with the web team to hopefully improve those statistics so that someday in the future, that would be something we would be able to share out in a larger audience. I'll turn it over to Kelly if she wants to add anything.
We can actually, am I still unmuted? Yeah, we can actually share these slides, and we've had members ask for the statistics that came from our web team, so we can certainly share that. And in terms of underestimating, that would be true. There are a lot of limitations on the web analytics that we're able to get. We'd like to point out that it doesn't count the number of times someone clicks on the pamphlet, the actual PDF. It's really just they go to the page. So if there's a Marshallese community group that clicks on it and opens the pamphlet and prints it and shows it to a group of people and talks about it in a community meeting, that's not recognized.
Yeah, and I guess the only reason I was thinking, because I found it more for myself interesting, because I know where I'm working, we're trying to promote languages and say, look, this is there is a need, because a lot of people in our so for me, I'd be thinking of like as a general thing, because I find it interesting seeing, look, so many people are looking at what pages are translated. If we have more people in the community learn languages, like as a way to, like, do you see what I mean? Like as showing that there's a need for languages, because fortunately many community colleges in the state are closing their language programs. So that's why I was finding it interesting.
Thanks, Fleur. I think Angie has her hand up. Angie, is your question about the data analysis? To stay on topic, or is it something else?
I think it has to do with the compliance with federal accessibility rules. I'm not sure if I understood you, what you were saying on this, and if you can expand a little bit, what is the format of this translation? If I understood correctly, this translation and is translated in all languages, then
So the accessibility is actually related to Americans with disabilities. So it would be people that need screen readers or voice to speech, different kinds of things to access materials on the intranet. So yes, they are translated, but they're also, they include data behind the scenes. I don't know exactly how it works. That's required. And it basically includes the name of the document, the author of the document, and some keywords. So if someone is doing a search on the internet for, let's say voter registration, their internet search would bring up some documents that have that. And then if those documents had any graphics in them, like someone inserting a ballot into a Dropbox, there would be a description in that language of translation for that pamphlet. So it would say person dropping ballot, signed ballot into Dropbox. And these are rules that were supposed to be implemented nationally by April 2026, and we did it, but they actually extended the deadline for agencies to fulfill those compliance rules until April 2027. I hope that answers your question, Angie, and I could show you some of it if you were interested.
Okay, thank you. Louie, I don't know if you raised your hand for a question regarding the staff report or...
Sorry. Kelly, yes, you. Thank you for answering my question. And I think I need to dig myself more, check more in the website how it looks, because in this past election, now being retired, I help temporarily with the disability voters, so they can, so we can reference these pages to whoever wants to do it. And it sounds like very exciting, not only in one language, but other languages. So yes, I think I'm gonna, I don't know if you can show me something, but I can look myself on the website later on to be.
Yeah, I just want to highlight that it's something you won't see unless you're using some kind of accessibility tools or searches, but I can show you what we have to do behind the scenes so that they can find it.
Sure. Yeah, that could be good.
Thanks for volunteering, even though you retired from election.
Yes, it was fun. Thank you.
Yeah. And I do see Tatiana had a question, curious about the page views as related to voter turnout compared to 24 to 26. You know what? We can look into that. I think that's a great question, and see if we can get some kind of analogy there. I am sorry to say, though, last year we had the Multnomah County Voter Outreach Team tell us about their work, and they did a lot of that kind of data analysis to target their efforts. Due to budget reductions, that program is no longer available at Multnomah County, and it's really disappointing. Budget is very difficult, but I know a lot of us were like, wow, we should have that kind of a team in every county, but resources are limited. So I've got your question, Tatiana, and we'll see if we can get something reasonable that we could track and report.
Right. Rebecca and Kelly, thank you for sharing, kind of reflecting back to us all the work that we've accomplished and done together. I think, you know, we work a lot of us individually. Some may collaborate with their peers, but we don't always get to see kind of the outcomes and the impact that our work has. We know it's impactful. So seeing these numbers, of course, is great. And I think it just gives us an idea of the awesome work that we all do. So thank you for preparing that report for us. And everybody, thank you for listening. Before we go on our break, I want to go back to our vice chair election. We have tracked the votes. Hector, you had a question about members that arrived after or joined the meeting after the vote. We had quorum to elect the vice chair, so we don't need to count additional votes. So we are taking this election with the members that were present at the time of the voting and knowing that we had a quorum. And the details will be part of our minutes so that it's transparent and we know who voted, who was absent, and what the result was. So after counting it, we have 12 votes for Lee, and we have 6 votes for Natasha. So Lee, you are the vice chair. Congratulations. And Natasha, thank you so much for your nomination and your commitment. And I mean, there's plenty of opportunities to support the council. So we know you want to do that, and everyone. So we'll also reach out when additional help is needed. We are a little behind time, but it's okay. I think there's so many important things that we have discussed and more that we want. I think we all deserve a break. So let's take 10 minutes and come back to our work together, this time with our peers. Is 7:18. Good, it just changed in my computer, 7:18. So why don't we come back at 7:28 sharp, and we can tackle our last part and have a little bit of community time to hear each other and adjourn our meeting. So I'm going to be here, but please be back at 7:28. Thank you so much all for your participation so far. So that we know you're here. Thank you. Hello. I love seeing your faces too. I know that not everybody wants to turn them on, but it's great to see those that are able to do so. Okay, so let's get started because we are running a little behind. We have a collaborative work session coming up. So it's just for a few minutes to look at the glossary and our style guide. So Kelly, can you help us walk through the logistics of that?
Sure. So usually we have an in-person meeting. We weren't able to do that this year, but we wanted to set aside some time. The glossaries, we've had a few additional words, revised definitions, and potential changes. Those were sent out before, and those are due Friday by 8 o'clock. So we've been receiving a lot already from people, and that's fine. But we did want to honor the opportunity for some people who have groups to work with, or individuals who haven't had a chance to work on it yet, to use the time. We are running a little bit behind schedule, so we'll do that for about 20 minutes because we did promise that to some of the groups. And Rebecca has set up some breakout rooms. I think she's working on that right now. So what we're going to suggest for single members who don't have a group is that you just turn off your camera and your microphone for, I think we're going to do it for 20 minutes, and just work on the glossary or look at your work, or just join us back when we come back. I'm looking at my notes here to make sure. And there will be an automatic timer in the breakout rooms that will tell you when it's 5 minutes time to get ready. I'm not sure if we're able to adjust that at this moment for the time change of the schedule. But I think we can go ahead. Magda, what was the revised time we were going to do?
Yes, we were gonna be in the work session until 7:48. So I can also try to track that to end our work sessions then. They will come back and meet as a group again.
Okay, and then just so you know, we do have one more agenda item afterwards, which is community time, and we really want to honor that as well. It's the thing that usually gets cut from the meeting, so we will have that from 7. You said 7:40. I gotta look at my notes. Let's hear from Rebecca. She was setting up the groups and see if that's going to work out.
I am able to assign those folks that accepted the meeting invite and joined through that meeting link, I believe. But some of your folks that haven't joined through that way will not be able to go into one of the breakout rooms. So there are a few of you, unfortunately, that may not be able. I will try once we start the breakout rooms. So we'll see if it lets me once we get them started.
Okay. Let's see if we can get those started.
Hi. Hello. Yes, this is Lee.
I can't type in the chat, but I don't think I have a breakout group. I'm not sure if
You do not, Lowell. You are the sole Marshallese representative.
Yeah.
So for those folks that are just a single language, we kept you here in this room.
Yeah, okay. I was looking for that, when I got the email. And yeah, I didn't see anything, but I did return my review already. Okay, thank you. I'll just hang out here.
Sorry guys, thank you for being here. I think there's some a small technical difficulties. Just give us one more minute to see if we are able to resolve them. Because it looks like we're having trouble assigning people to the rooms and opening them right now. So appreciate your patience. Give us 1 second, and while we wait, I am just going to share that it's pouring rain and thunder where I am in Portland. I don't know if anybody else is seeing that, but there's a ton of water in the floor right now. Okay, so I've heard from Rebecca. We are having difficulties to start the work sessions right now. So we are very sorry. I think rather than continue trying and running out of time, I'm gonna ask the council sort of informally if it's okay if we postpone our glossary work session for our next meeting, so that we can move on with the agenda, and also because it is important that we take some time to do that, but maybe we do that in a different meeting since we're having difficulties right now. Kelly.
Yes, I'm going to suggest, in the past we have scheduled a meeting for a group, like if the Chinese group wants to meet, I can set up a Teams meeting at another time, like in the evening or at noon, and give them an opportunity to work together if you'd like us to help facilitate that group meeting. Have you closed the bump people back, Rebecca, so they hear that? Okay. Yes. So I'm
sorry about that, Kelly, but I did something, or could Rebecca send me to, I was talking to Chantal and I don't know what I did.
we cut you off. That's what happened.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, okay.
Okay. Yes, we were having difficulties assigning people to rooms and we're able to fix it out. So we're just going to discontinue that attempt for right now. And what I was just saying is, if a language group would like to meet at noon or at 5 or 5:30 or 6 in the next couple of days, I can help.
I'm getting kicked out of the meeting. I got kicked out of my work group with Patty.
Oh, okay.
We kicked you out, Chantal. So we're gonna, it didn't work out, Chantal. So we're just gonna move forward and finish the meeting a little early. And then anyone who wants to connect with their person, we can help facilitate that maybe in the last few minutes that we were gonna have.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. Thank you.
That's okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad it worked for 2 people.
Yes. Yeah,
It did work for me and Patty.
From the Spanish speaking, I would be interested in a quick meeting. If anybody else, we can talk about that. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, this is Chloe.
Yes, I don't know. Suddenly I was on mute or whatever, and suddenly your meeting appeared with me in it. So
I don't know. That's the wonders of technology. maybe cross our fingers so we can meet in person next time. It'll be fun. That'll be easier. Oh, thank you, Loy. How about
bye bye.
So how about step 41? Why don't we take maybe 10 minutes for community time? I know we plan this meeting so much, but we tend to run a little late because there's just so much content. But why don't we take 10 minutes for our community time, and then we can adjourn, complete our survey, and kind of share our thoughts about today's meeting. So community time is a space where we can socialize a little bit. We don't come together that often. And typically this is a space where you can share about your experience. I want to say what your experience in the council, but more like how does this work help your community, your language community, any achievements, questions, any events related to elections or community happening where you live. I know we also have some departing members, so any thoughts from them as well would be great. So let's give us some time to share thoughts or questions that we didn't get to ask during the staff presentation. This would be a good time. Yeah, Lee.
Hi, good evening. First, I would like to appreciate and I introduced like I am passionate about helping people, but I did not share the story. So when I first moved to the United States, it's my first like went to the hospital and had a surgery, and I felt lonely and scared at that time. And an interpreter, her name is Miss Wang, I will say, because I remember her name very clearly, but I don't want to disclose without her permission. So with the interpreter Miss Wang's help, I felt so much more peace and warm in my heart. So that's why I decided to help others like her in the future. And I became an interpreter. Even though I moved on to another position, sorry for the background, I have a baby at home. So I missed the experience like helping others when I was an interpreter. And I'm so grateful for you voted me. And I am so grateful for every one of you here. We are all here to serve and to help limited English proficiency community. And I am grateful. I'm just trying to express my gratitude. And thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Lee. Yeah, Meng.
Good evening. I was just wanting to see, well, there was a couple of things. I work for a labor union, and I am the staff advisor for Asian Pacific Islander. And there was a consensus that we want to host more education events when it comes to election, just because election itself is super confusing. But we also know that there are a lot of community out there who is doing this type of education. We were wondering, or I guess I was wondering, if like Secretary of State or election office can have a page where there is calendars for community to submit their events related to like election education so that there are options for people to attend. Because like if we're not out there networking with other people, we might not know what organization exists or what's a credible organization when they're hosting these election education things. So I'm not sure if you guys have thought about that to create a platform for people who really wanted to learn about how election works. Yeah, thank you.
So Meng, can I get clarification? It would be like a resource for outside, sometimes partisan groups, sometimes nonpartisan groups, to post their events that would be affiliated with the Secretary of State's web pages or outreach. Is that what you're talking about? Like a clearinghouse?
Yeah, or they could even state like what the education is about. If they are like affiliated with specific political thing, they should disclose that as well for people to know that it's out there, but at least the information should be like available for people to pick and choose what type of education event that they would like to attend. Because there are different things that it's going on at different counties. And so county specific, general election specific, like those information would really be helpful.
Okay, I think I understand the request. And I love this picture because I'm looking at you while you're talking. I know that there is some trepidation about looking like we're sponsoring any particular group that may have a certain political bent. For example, last time in the meeting evaluation, we were kicking around the idea of bringing in some groups like Minority Voters Association or League of Women Voters, or to talk about their outreach efforts, because that was a request. But our leadership was concerned about anything that would look like we were promoting one group over the other. So I want to think a little bit more about that idea, and but I think it's a great idea. And also I want to just remind everyone that for the primary and general election, our communications team creates outreach materials, and I'll put the link in the chat here that you can also use for your own educational events, and they're nonpartisan materials. And there are some in the 5 most common languages: Spanish, Chinese, Vietnamese, Korean, and Russian. And so that just came out recently, but thank you for the idea. You always have good ones.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm just about ready to put that in the chat so you can check it out. I think it's pretty good. They have a lot of new graphics in their toolkit.
Thank you, Meng. Right, anybody else? Any thoughts, events, questions, comments?
This is Tatiana. I had an interesting experience where I was looking some information on translation, and AI tool actually returned question to me referring to our glossary that we translated, Ukrainian language glossary. I guess I was looking at something like writing candidate or something. So that was interesting to see that, you know, our glossaries, the work we created, is now being used by AI to, you know, do their answer questions of other users. So that was cool. I wonder if somebody else has seen some or noticed something like that.
Oh, we're the trailblazers, a reference point. Natalia.
Hi, I would like to add something post-election. I hope that whatever was said by Tatiana wasn't influenced your vote wasn't influenced by those words, because this is not what I am about. This is not what most Russian people who reside in Oregon are about. We try to stay apolitical and friendly with everyone. It's a big pain to both of our nations, Russian and Ukrainian, what is going on. And it's not our fault, because we haven't even been in the middle of that conflict. We're not responsible for that conflict, and it's very unjustified to blame something of that hatred on a great Russian author, Fyodor Mikhailovich Dostoevsky, for his inspiring words that I use all the time and have been using them. And I did not think about those words being insulting to anyone in any way. And like I said before, our ERG chair was using them, and they say, what would life be if we had no courage to attempt anything? It just means to inspire everyone to try on new things, no matter what. And when I was trying to thank everybody for voting for me after that election, that's all it was. I was just saying thank you to the people who supported me. There was no ill will. And I can't even begin to comprehend how somebody could create a web of all those thoughts, all that negativity, and tie it to my simple thank you for your support letter. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Natalia, for saying that and for acknowledging the difficulties of like international politics, and also the TN. I think it affects all of us in one way. I think, there's so many difficult conflicts, and I don't mean to minimize this one, but I appreciate you both kind of just surfacing how that can affect and impact our daily lives. So I am glad that we are able to talk respectfully and know that, yeah, we are all experiencing the impact, and that at the same time, I trust that we all are supportive and respectful of each other. We have a few minutes before we finish. I think we're gonna take one more comment. After that, Kelly is gonna give us just some quick reminders for our next steps as council, and we will end by putting in the chat the link for the evaluation survey for today, so that you can share your thoughts about the meeting. Let us know what we can do better, what you appreciated about tonight's meeting, and we can wrap it up. So let's see, I see one hand up.
Lowell?
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. And I also want to thank Kelly and her team at the Secretary of State's office, and every single council member today for all the great work you are doing, we are doing for the people of Oregon. And I also want to formally congratulate Lee Gui, Ms. Lee, for being elected to be Vice President and in our council. And I look forward to working with you as a member of this council. Many of us serve in this council in our official capacity and attend these meetings after our regular working hours. And I appreciate everybody's time and commitment and our willingness to be here, even during dinner time. I'm having my dessert right now, brownie. So sorry if I had my cameras closed earlier. I didn't want you guys to think I was, I didn't know my manners. I was kind of having my meal. But I have brownie for dessert. My neighbors kid was fundraising, so came to my door and I'm like, yeah, I'll buy a brownie. But also as executive director of Monet, I'm proud to also say that we've done a lot of work here in the state on voter education and outreach with our youth, with our elders, and I get the numbers that I see today are, they're amazing, and the report and the data were really nice, and the experiences that we all have with interpreting and translation and working in our community, we each have different experiences. And, I appreciate all the work and, the cultures that we all, have in this community and this council. And I'm grateful to serve in this council again. And thank you for accepting my nomination, my term to, serve again. And I'm, to be a voice for the Marshallese community. And I hope we can get another person to serve from the Marshallese community. And again, thank you, everybody, and good night. And I hope to see you at our next meeting, hopefully in person. And Komodada.
Komodada. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're a very unique group, aren't we? I don't think there's probably anything like it in state government. So appreciate that. Just a couple of reminders. It's not going to be a particularly heavy lift for this election, but check your calendars that you received. We will have things sent out for the general election August 27th and the 31st. They would be due just after Labor Day. And there's always that really tight time of county measure reviews. We only get about 3 days. That's scheduled for September 21 through the 24th. So mark your calendars. And then we do like people to be on call for webpage reviews. That's the very last thing we do before we post, just to make sure we didn't mangle your language. And the glossaries are due Friday morning. We'll be sending your comments to the translation teams on Monday morning. So Friday is an important time for us. And yeah, I see the QR code and our email, and it looks like there's a couple of groups that would like some assistance in collaborating. And if you just want to stay online for just a few more minutes, we might be able to pick a couple times and I can get you hooked up together. Just those people.
Great. So with that, I think it's time to adjourn our meeting. Thank you for one more meeting where you show up engaged. I think we can see some of the outcomes, and appreciate your time. I'm gonna have my dinner. I wish I had a brownie. I hope you can all rest. In the chat is the link for the survey. We will also send it out with the email summary with our meeting notes so that you can complete it. I'm going to stay for a few minutes too. I think Kelly, you too. And again, if there's any other Spanish speakers that want to collaborate in the glossary work, let me know. What else? Thank you, everyone. And yeah, I don't think there's more I can say. And have a great night. I appreciate your presence here tonight.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye, Lily.
Thank you.